Hi, living in Boulder vlog for... Can't remember. Maybe it's the 15th. Yeah, I can't remember what day. I'll go look. But it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. So... I'm like tired. I worked all night long and then all into today, so I was working then finally, even though the work I'm doing is super easy, it's just copying and pasting. I figure it's time for me to go to sleep. Yeah, so since yesterday, yesterday I was doing images and then today I was continuing with that and of ancient Boulder and Google Earth and ancient Boulder. And yeah, I started and I drug them all into their proper decades. And then I started finding where the locations of them were. So I was just going to run through them from the decade, you know. There was a lot. It was like 175 from Boulder Public Library, new ones that I got. I don't know how many of those I already had, but I think all of them look new. But like 182 from some postcard website, and then, or maybe, I can't remember how many. And then 182 also, maybe from this video that I was doing screen captures from of old images the person was describing. Not all of them are going to be new, but so I don't know how many will end up. But I mean, like, was it 805? Yeah, I'm curious. Am I going to hit 1,000? That'll be badass if I do. Yeah, so we'll see. So I did a few of those in the new location, and then I saw one that said it was a stone marker that had etched in it 1/4 mile east of here lies Fort. Well, I guess they called it Fort Valmont, but on the thing it had a name Fort. I can't remember, and where they they protected themselves after the Indian attacks. And so I was like, where the hell is that? So I looked on Google Earth a little bit, couldn't find it. You know, I saw pictures of it. So I knew it was like on the side of the road. So I figured, all right, fuck it, let's just drive down there. Because it's only a couple miles from here, so. And it's snowy, I don't mind driving snow. My roommate's Beamer. So I drive down there to the neighborhood, in those days, town of Valmont. And I drive up, and I look over, and, you know, and I see the old school. And then, so, yeah, I think what I read was that it was on the land, that's the land of the poor man's house. This big mansion where the poor people went. So I drove all the way up because I had a rough idea where it was. Drove all the way up the road north, and I saw the mansion sign. I turned around, came down. And then I saw another road that went straight as it turned. So I had I wanted to look down every road, you know. So I turned off, and I looked, and I think I saw maybe a rock. So I drove down the road, and I looked, and I saw, oh my God, look at this, I found it. Took a photo of it. Yeah. Came home, found it on Google Earth, it's just a dot. And then marked how far east. It's just on the north end of these reservoirs. I think on private property, but I think the city bought it a couple years ago for $5.2 million, and it's like 500 acres or something. Can't remember, but they're gonna make it like a parks and open public space. So it's lakes and maybe they'll put trails. That'll be awesome. But I think I heard also they wanted to give it back to the Arapaho Indians. But so I come home. I actually went back to my mom's house. It was on the way, and she built me a omelet and hung out with her, and I showed her. But I saw this platform white platform looked like blocks of concrete. So I said, "Oh wow, that's it," because it was just a little bit beyond a quarter mile east of that. So, and then I saw on a website somebody had plans for it, the plan for it, and so it didn't have a scale. So I just Wikipedia different forts in America to see how big, if there were any like remaining forts that look like that one. And so I saw one Fort something in Kentucky or Arkansas, Fort Smith in Arkansas, and the original one was just a simple square, just like that one. So I got the size of it, superimposed it on it. Saw that, oh, okay, about 50 meters. So I think they wanted to make one that was about 50 meters by 50 meters, and then and then I traced it over the drawing, and it had these round on three sides, just these round. Or no, I don't. Maybe I did trace it. I can't. Maybe. Oh, I think I traced just the square, but not with the turrets. Oh, anyway. Yeah. So built the fort in Boulder, and that's cool because I didn't know there was a fort in Boulder, or a war. And the soldiers who did the Sand Creek massacre trained at that fort. So we had our own war too. Boulder had our own war. Sand Creek massacre. I think I was thinking about Google Earthing that too. Happened like 25 miles southeast of Denver because in 1864, 26-year-old couple and their two kids were killed and mutilated. So the Americans, the Denverites, blamed the Indians, and they went out there to their village with 650 troops and volunteers with guns, and while their war party was out, and killed like 200, I guess. I guess in Wikipedia ranges from 70 to 500, so I haven't decided if I wanted to do how many I put, but people just killed them all. But so it's interesting to think that I guess before that there were Indian villages coexisting with Denver. So that's trippy just to think about, like living in that world. But then after that massacre, I guess that was the end. But when that massacre happened, because I just listened to the PBS documentary about it, and it said that somebody mentioned there were only 2,500 to 3,000 Arapaho before the massacre. So if they killed 500 in the massacre, they killed a sixth of the entire freaking race. So that qualifies as a genocide. But and they were scattered throughout 3 states. So I want to listen to what they said on that again, and because it gave me the idea, why not Google Earth the entire race? Because it doesn't necessarily have to take that long to draw in 3,000 people the way that I work. I think I already did that. I think I already drew in like 10,000 people up in Caribou, Colorado. That would say one of those towns, the first town I started Google Earthing, but one of those things decided to go full crazy, wild, detailed in, and I decided to draw in individual people. But if I draw an individual people of the Arapaho Nation, it's a trippy to think about because you're Google Earthing the entire race of people. And I think it's kind of like doing a monument to the fallen, like the 10th mountain, the 950 people who died from the 10th Mountain Division in World War II in the Alps. They put this big plaque with all their names on, like Berthoud Pass or something like that. And so it's kind of like that, if they can do that, why not somebody draw in each and every person from an entire race that got wiped out on Google Earth as a way to solidify, that they actually were there, and to help clarify what actually happened and how unnecessary that was, and what racism is, and what a genocide is, and because it happened right here in my backyard. So you could draw in the teepees and the people, or at least draw the teepees, maybe not the people, but that'd be interesting. But I was also thinking about doing that with the mountain lions and bears in Boulder County, because there's only like 40 bears and 40 mountain lions in Boulder County. So they even had them named, or most of them named. So to draw those in individually where they are would be cool, and if it's a reasonable number, even maybe with the elk, and then the Indians. That's kind of, if you do all of that, that's going to drag on some time. But I think it's kind of, it would help. It would help us if we all became aware of all that. It would help us conserve more. I think we would respect the environment more, and be more apprehensive about continuing to encroach into the woods and the nature. I mean, the woods are already dying on their own from all the pollution and the global warming and stuff. So we don't need to help it along by cutting more logs down and building more houses up in the mountains for rich people. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon. If I do it, it's just a thought. What I'm doing now is, so I was doing the images, and then I built that, because I had to build the image, the location, everything for that stone, and then I built that fort, and I just saved it, because I saved a lot of the stuff for the images, structures that I built for the images, in with the images, and then I'll just drag them into the Google Earth file later. But so I was, and then I got a couple of images in doing that. I think I actually got to that far with that one stone, and then I said to myself, "Oh wait, because I've been doing that for the last few days, working on those images with Google Earth." And so I figured, let's just fix the links on the web page, because the web page, none of the links on the maps work. And so I went and looked, and it's because none of the links were created. So I decided to just start creating the links for the map, because it's just such easy work, such mindless work. It's good work to do when you're like burnt out or when you're about to pass out, So I started creating folders and then saving even files from all the maps, so that I can then link them all. And I was thinking maybe it's a little bit too early, because if I save the individual blocks, then if I go in there, and add the structures from the image folders, then I would have to save it again. But if I do that, I would just save it as I do it, so it's not that big of a deal. So, because I can, if I create the files now, then I can link them with the website and get that rolling. So, so I figured I'd do that for a day or two. I also have to fix the organization of the Boulder History Google Earth page, because a lot of, the lists are too long. They need to be horizontal from vertical, instead of one list going way down, like streets, 1915 map streets. It's just one column that goes way down. You need to make it a table that has 5 columns. And I think you can even break that into 9 columns, the streets. So, but I'm going to do that after I add all the extra images, see if I can get up to 1,000. and then I'll break it up. So, but I'm gonna fall asleep first. I started to work until I started to like get kind of hit the wall, like physically. So, which is good because that means I can fall right asleep. Like yesterday, it was the same thing. I laid on my belly, and I was like, "Oh man, I love just laying on my belly," after having worked for that long. And then next thing I know, I'm sleeping. It's great. Yeah, like if anybody has insomnia, the reason people have insomnia is because they have schedules. They have to follow somebody else's schedule. They have to go and be somewhere at a certain date. So if we could just change our mindsets in the way we think about society and just try to minimize the jobs where you have to work on somebody else's schedule to only the jobs that are necessary, like if you're a waiter at a restaurant or you're a lift operator at a ski resort or something. But if you're working on a project, like you're a student in school, why show up at some asshole's class at 8 o'clock in the morning every day? It's going to give you insomnia trying to get to sleep the night before to be able to have the energy to do that. Just give people chores to do and then give them 5 years to do it. And they just do what I do. They work until they pass out, and then they don't ever have to have insomnia. So, because I was having really bad insomnia last summer when I was trying to ride my bike. So, to the point, I didn't get one single a minute of sleep in last summer at night. So I decided, okay, let's just ride at night. But then my mom reminded me I don't have insurance, so I decided to just quit with all that until I get insurance. Anyway, that's enough talking. So tomorrow I'm going to get going on creating these links and try to fix the links with the maps on my Google Earthing of Boulder finally. And then do the images, fix those on, and then fix the links, and then fix the layout of that page, and then fix the actual maps. Should be cool. And yeah, so anyways, until I burn out, I'm not paying attention to how long all this is taking. For the last few months, I've been paying attention, counting the weeks. But when I went into this, I didn't want to because it was at first I thought I could do it really quickly, and then I realized it'd take a while, and so I was like, okay, I don't want to tweak my mind, make myself feel like I'm not making good progress. It's better to just not worry about it and then just enjoy, because this is particularly enjoyable because it's Boulder and Boulder, which is where I live, if I want to see any of these places, all I have to do is drive down the road. But it's also very, very interesting geologically. There's so many different hills, so many different everything, and history and everything is just jam-packed. So it's a little playground for what I do. So anyways, I'm going to go lie down now. I've talked long enough. Tomorrow, don't even know. I don't even care where I'll be tomorrow. And I honestly can't think to imagine my brain is doing shutting down mode right now. Alrighty, talk to you tomorrow.